Physicians who consistently make significant changes that redefine how patient care is delivered are known as disruptors. At the Children's, Dr. Mirko Gilardino, Chief of Plastic Surgery and Director of the Craniofacial Surgery Unit, is certainly one of those people. He is continuously innovating for children with severe craniofacial deformities. Hey Mirko, great to see you. I have so many questions for you today.
Preetha, I look forward to your questions.
So tell us about your latest innovation using a 3D printer to model and print custom-made implants to correct skull deformities in children.
So as you know, children can be born with diseases that affect the skull, leaving holes in the areas like the skull or the orbits, and that can be also caused by accidents and unfortunately sometimes tumors in children. And what that can mean is that we can have a hole somewhere in the skull that requires a complex bony reconstruction. So in the past, the way that we would reconstruct these things is harvest other pieces of the skull, or often ribs or hips, and you can imagine those are very long operations that cause a lot of pain for children. And then we have to struggle with those bones and pieces in the OR trying to make something that is quite complicated and delicate. So what we've done in the last few years is develop some technology along with other companies that allows us to create custom-made implants. So instead of spending hours and hours in the operating room, we do that on a computer and then simply take the implant and go to the OR and pop it into place.
This is absolutely incredible. Really, it sounds very Grey's Anatomy. So what are these implants made of? And how do you design and print these custom-made implants for each patient?
So the implants can be made of basically two materials, either a metal or some sort of plastic. We tend to prefer plastic because it's very strong and very light. So this is an example actually of a 3D model, but this was created from the CT scan of the actual patient. And then what the engineers do is they say, okay, well, this is the side that has the problem. Let's go to the other side that is actually quite normal. So you can see in a patient like this, that would be extremely difficult to do with the patient's own bone. But look at the complexity of the shape that you can create and how perfect that is compared to the other side. The computer estimates what we would need as an implant to create the identical sort of symmetrical reconstruction.
I understand patient outcomes are significantly improved thanks to implants created by a 3D printer, which is fantastic for patients.
100%. Because if we can spend a lot less time in the operating room, recovery is faster for the patients. Don't forget, I don't have to take their ribs, I don't have to take their hip bones, right? On top of that, there's less transfusions, the kids go home faster, and then let's talk about efficiency for the hospital and resources. If I'm not spending 7 hours in the operating room, but 2.5 hours in the operating room, we can offer more surgery to more children here at the Children's Hospital.
Now tell me about another of your new techniques using a layer of the patient's own fat to help in these reconstructions.
So we have lots of good stuff in our own body, and one of those things that we all have plenty of is fat. And so what we do is like a mini liposuction, and then with a very fine needle, we inject it over the area where we want to get the reconstruction. So imagine that you've done a reconstruction with this very solid implant, but you still have a little bit of what we call a contour deformity, some irregularity. So by doing the two together, you get the best of both worlds. You get a very good structural reconstruction, but you also get this very natural layer of soft tissue over top. And so that's using fat grafting to get the best result for these kids.
Absolutely unbelievable. I didn't know you did all these things, Mirko. You're cooler than I thought.
I don't know what to say to that, but that's amazing.